Well, good morning, kiddos. Mr. Jared here with a Miss Nicky, and we hope you're having a good morning. I am. But Miss Nicky is being a little bit of a grunt grump. She is not real happy that I purchased myself a milkshake and did not get her one. Considering especially that Oreo is her favorite, mine too. But can't everybody be a winner? So, Miss Nikki, why don't you tell us about your grief, so we can get going with this lesson?
Well, I really just don't think it's very fair that you get a milkshake and I don't. I mean, you know I like them.
Right, but just because you don't have one doesn't make it unfair. Can't you just be happy that I'm happy and enjoying myself? I mean, there'll be other times for you to have a milkshake.
I guess so. I mean, I do love you and I want you to be happy.
Well, you should tell your face.
Well, I guess you are right. I do want you to be happy. I'm sorry. I guess I was just kind of jealous that you had one and I didn't.
Well, it is delicious.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Jealousy can make you do some really mean stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like the story today. It's about jealousy. See, there was this young fella, his name was Joseph. And kind of like Mr. Jared, Joseph had something that was a little bit special that everyone else wanted. That everyone else just happens to be his brothers. You see, Joseph's dad gave him something very special. See, Joseph was his dad's favorite, which is just asking for trouble. But he gave Joseph this special coat. And his brothers were mad that they didn't get a coat. And what makes Joseph so special? And what makes Dad so in love with him and just doesn't care about us enough to give us anything? So the story is going to talk about that journey, Joseph getting his coat, how his brothers reacted, and what happened to Joseph because his brothers let that jealousy get a little bit to their head and they did some mean stuff to Joseph to get back at him. Okay, so you put your listening ears on. I'll get my milkshake and we'll get started.
Well, guys, like Mr. Jared said, our story today is about a young boy named Joseph. Joseph lived in a big family. He had 11 brothers and one sister. His family loved God, and Joseph learned to love and trust God too. His dad loved him in a special way, in a different way than he loved his other brothers. He even gave him a special coat to show him how much he loved him. That made his brothers really mad, and they got really jealous. They decided one day, after they got so jealous, we're going to get rid of Joseph for good. We're tired of Dad loving him more. So that's what they did. First, they threw him in a big hole. Then, when some travelers came along, they said, okay, now let's sell him and get rid of him for good. Oh, that's so sad. They thought they were rid of him for good, but God had a plan. Even worse, though, after they sold him, they made a lie up. They told a lie to their dad and said, Dad, a wild animal must have got your loved son Joseph. Oh, we shouldn't lie. That was a really naughty thing that they did, and it made Joseph's dad and God very sad. But like I said, God had a plan, and Joseph Well, he did have to go be a servant. And after he was a servant, well, his story wasn't over. He ended up in jail too. But you know what? When he was a servant and when he was in jail, the Lord was with him. And he took care of Joseph and helped him along wherever he was. And that is really important to remember, guys. Because all that time, God was working out a plan. And he eventually made Joseph a ruler in a place called Egypt. And Joseph took care of a lot of people in a hard time when there was no food. People had to come and say, Joseph, we're out of food. We need food. And some of those people, well, guess who they were? It was his brothers. They hadn't seen him in so long, they didn't even know who he was. But Joseph knew, and he forgave them. He wasn't mean to them. He showed them kindness and forgiveness, and he gave them food and told them they could even come live with him. That's how God wants us to treat other people. He wants us to forgive them. We can learn a good lesson from Joseph.
Well, that's the story this week, guys, and we hope you enjoyed it. Learn about Joseph and his special gift and his brothers who got a little jealous and what happened to Joseph, but God took care of him and made good things out of what started out as bad. So, let's see who's listening. Question time. I've already got my reward, so I don't have to do it. But I am wondering, what was that special gift that Joseph's dad gave him that made his brothers jealous? What was the special gift Joseph got? A what of many colors? A coat.
Oh,
A coat.
that's right. Good job.
This is true. Miss Nikki, why don't you try one?
Okay. What job did Joseph have to do after his brothers sold him? Did he have to be a servant or did he have to be a shopper? A servant. Good job. Very good.
Let's see. Now, at near the end of the story, when Joseph's brothers came to ask him for food, was Joseph mean to them because they had been mean to him? Or did he treat them with kindness because even though they were mean, he still loved them? How did he treat his brothers? Do you know? He treated them very nice, with kindness. He still loved them. They did him wrong, but he still loved them. Just like people do us wrong, hey, we still gotta love. Well, we hope you enjoyed it, kiddos, and we look forward to seeing you next week, and hopefully we can get back into church soon because we have a new room to show you guys. A lot more space, and we're gonna have a good time. Alrighty? We'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Later.